All right, we're live, everybody. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for a early lunch for some of us in Central Standard and East Coast for a middle time lunch. So we appreciate y'all being here. I'm thrilled to kick off this series, our Brand Growth Blueprint webinar series. I'm more excited to introduce Catherine and Misha, who I got to meet a few years back, and I wanted to bring in those experts in this webinar. So Catherine is Principal Consultant at WSI, and Misha is CEO of Redtree. And I would like each of them to do a little intro and tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and what you'll be talking about on your webinar series. And I'll go with Misha first.
Hey everyone, as Justin said, my name is Misha. So I'm the founder of Redtree Web Design. We are a national team with a global client base. We specialize 100% in creating functional as well as creative websites, specifically inside of WordPress and Shopify. Our real sweet spot is very much in line with this webinar, right? We focus a lot on creating websites that represent brand, connect to users, and also really making sure that we're looking at a business's goals and how it is that the website and the marketing efforts is going to help you achieve those goals. My last thing that I will say is these webinars are great for networking. I love networking. I am a raging extrovert here. So anyone who is just coming on or anyone who is willing, please put a link to your LinkedIn, lots of links, inside of the comments, and I encourage everyone to network, grow, communicate. We're all talking about marketing, and we all really love marketing here. So, yes. Thanks,
Misha. Catherine.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Catherine Womack, the Principal Consultant for WSI. It's a national digital marketing company, and I happen to be a local agency owner in the state of Maryland, but we do have clients throughout the United States. A little about me, I'm a former strategic intelligence officer, and now all I care about doing is, after Justin helps the clients with their overall brand, the narrative, and Misha builds these beautiful, powerful websites, I want to drive traffic to those websites. I want to train the search engines what the website is about, who it's for, where it's located, all their different service areas. That is our favorite thing to do. So I'm glad that you all signed up for this series because it's amazing to have the three components of an effective digital marketing effort all under one roof. So thank you for having me, and I'll be looking for you all on LinkedIn as well.
Thanks, Catherine. I'd say everyone that's joining us right now, let us know where you're from. I'm from Minneapolis, and you've heard where Catherine and Misha are from. So toss in, where did you join us? Where are you located? I'm Justin, and I'm the founder and brand advisor of Mercury Creative Group. And a little bit what Catherine said, what we do at Mercury is really help organizations define their brand value. And we start with who's that primary person they help the most? Where are they? What are their challenges, and how do you help solve them? Then we get super clear with that information. Now we know how to go to market and help find more of those people, more of those ideal people you like to work with and you like to help. Makes all of your communications and your marketing efforts much more effective and your return much more valuable. This whole idea sparked, well, first of all, the three of us met at NGLCC about 3 years ago, and this is all queer-owned beer conference. So we really hit it off, both as like professionals, getting to meet others, grow our businesses, but also really honed in on the challenges that our clients are having in the marketing fields. And what we discovered last year is like, we have these unique superpowers that can all come together to really help our clients in the end. So this idea really kind of came out of sitting around a table, drinking some coffee and talking about the challenges that our clients are experiencing and going, we've got an opportunity to share how we can help them and how we can come together. So this all kind of came from that conversation to come together to help you. So what we're putting together is this series. So there's a three-part series, and we're going to end with a panel. And what we want to do is collect all the questions that we're receiving either in these webinars live, as well as what are the conversations that happen afterwards via email or however, and then bring that together in a panel so we could sort of bring it all together, but again, bring all of you and others together to really ask questions so we can help you in all the things that you're doing with your marketing efforts. Because we get you, we understand where you're at. Sometimes you're a marketing department of one, sometimes you have more, sometimes you're the C-suite leader that's has this multiple title of something else in C-suite, but also overseeing marketing and sales. So our goal is to help you run your organizations more effectively and have a lot more fun doing it as well. Misha, Catherine, anything I've missed right now?
All right. I just want to say I feel for the C-suite types wearing the 20 hats and the founders. I see you all there in the chat. We feel for you, and we're here to make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to jump in really quick. So time is we're doing this short and fast. This is a little bit about me. You're seeing my partner Josh and our lovely little dog Cosmo, who's not little. We thought he was going to be 40 pounds. He's a whopping 80 pounds. And then there's some pictures of my family and some clients and one of my teammates, Sherry, in the bottom corner. If anyone wants to see the video of me and my nieces on the other, reach out. I'm happy to share some silly video. Tanya, you can move into the next. My goal today is to explain why it's so important to really identify your primary audience. And we know there's more than one, but you really need to focus on one primary audience and why that's important. I'm going to give you some ways to think about how to define that primary audience. And then we're going to run just through some questions that we typically get asked from prospects and from clients as we go through the process. So we'll take you through those questions. And we also urge you to put questions in the chat as well as we're moving along this process. So I'm also going to leave you with a takeaway, and it's a worksheet that is been developed over 27 years of doing this work in our industry to give you sort of a step-by-step way to think through who is that primary and ideal client or ideal member that you really want to serve more of and have fun and make a lot more money doing it. All right, Tanya, you can hit next slide. So this quote is important, and we are people. We are emotional beings. We make decisions emotionally. And Simon Sinek wrote this: you don't do business with companies, you do business with people. And this is important to me for what I'm going to talk about today, because that person that's in the center of your bullseye, that primary audience, is a person. So we want to appeal to that person that you want more of. So your primary audience, they self-identify that you are right for them, and they align with your culture, they align with the things that your team is doing, the products that you're putting out in the market, how you're speaking, all those things that they see in the world. They refer you because they like you, they trust you, and they want you along their growth journey as they're growing their business or their personal brand, whatever it is. So it's super important to define who is that ideal buyer that we want to find a lot more of. Because what happens is they self-identify, they find you, they seek you out, and they kind of become a client before they start talking with you because of all the things that they're seeing out in the marketplace. So I'm going to give a little story. You've kind of heard me talk about target, and I'm throwing all these words: ideal client, primary buyer, ideal member, all of those. But it comes down to that one person, and it's not just one person. Jane, for example, it's an avatar. It's sort of a made up description of all of your favorite clients. If you would put them on a whiteboard and run through, why do we like this client so much? What is the pain point that they typically come to us with? What is their family makeup? What are the fun things that they do? Where do they hang out? When you start to look at all of those and see them on sort of one dashboard or a whiteboard or a big Post-it note, you'll start to see some consistencies in that person. And that's where you start to define that primary or ideal person that you really love helping the most. They provide the most value and the most challenges, but also the most money. They get you, they trust you. That's the center of your bullseye. That's who you want to really focus on and figure out, who do we want more of those. So when you take the time to really get super clear on that person. What is it that they need the most? And where do they hang out? And what is the actual value in the end that you bring? It gives you all the key things to help tell your brand story and in a way that they will connect and identify with what you have to offer and know that this organization is right for me. It will also help you define the right messaging, the right visuals, the right products and services. And even better, it helps you determine we don't need to do half these other things that we're doing because they're either not effective, they're not making us money. My team hates doing it, it's a drain on them. So, having clarity on who it is you help the most and you want more of gives you all the confidence and ability to decide what are we going to do next? How do we go to market? How do we build our website? How do we take that information now and optimize our website? So that's why it's very important to define that single most important person you want to help the most in the center of your bullseye. Now, you're fine there, Tanya. You can stay there or go back to the bullseye. So visually, everyone, we want you to really identify that one person and put a story around that person so everybody can identify who that person is in your organization. But it doesn't mean that you don't have a secondary or a tertiary, ideal secondary, tertiary person that you want to do business with. But when you have just that one, you stay very focused. So that information, though, that you're focusing on that primary audience, the second tertiary groups will also identify. So it's okay. You're still going to make money off some of the people in the outer ring. But here's the thing. If you are just doing random acts of marketing and they never hit the bullseye or never come close to your target, that's where you're wasting a lot of money, wasting a lot of effort. And your team knows it and they get it and they're frustrated as well that these efforts aren't working. So, with that in mind, I'm going to have Catherine and Misha kind of step into some questions that we just talked through, like which would be helpful for this webinar.
Okay, so I'm chomping at the bit to ask a question real quick. So I think everybody here in this webinar today, I think you've heard the stereotypes about SEO and how it just didn't work and like it was useless. Why did I waste my money on that? So identifying your target audience is crucial to SEO experts doing their job effectively and making you happy. So with that, I've got a question for you, Justin, because my lifeblood, right? Getting these SEO clients is on the line. How do you make sure that that defined audience stays relevant to the business over time? Because I can't keep plugging away if that defined audience isn't relevant. How do you do that?
Absolutely. Well, people change. So, and relevant is really kind of the key question that you're asking. So, you need to stay close with your ideal clients. So, having conversations, understanding what do they need now? Do you see something coming down the road that they might need that you know that they don't know yet? So, I would say staying very close with them, having conversations, being in their industry and really understanding their industry well and how your services can really help them be better, do better, be more efficient, etc. A lot of reading and being up on what's happening in their world is also super important. So again, you are staying ahead of them. Just think of a good friendship or a good teammate. Get to know them really well, and you'll know what's evolving and what's changing in their world, so you can bring that back to your organization and adapt or modify the things that you're doing.
So doing like a little bit more than simply selling a thing to a target audience, but actually getting involved and maybe going to the same industry meetups they might go to or events and just staying connected that way, maybe listening to some podcasts in their industry, things like that.
Absolutely. And also if you're in their market or in they're near to you, take them out for coffee, have a happy hour, pick up the phone. I've been noticing a lot of our clients and past clients love just the old telephone right now, which is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's a little tired of Zoom, but to have a 10-minute check-in, and it's our job to stay in touch with them and find out and ask them those questions like, how are you feeling? What's going on in your world? Ask them, what can we do for you that we're maybe not doing right now? That's, you're building trust. So,
I mean, fanny packs and bell bottoms are coming back into style, so why wouldn't phone calls, right? So,
yes,
I mean, everything is coming back.
sounds like a
So
fanny
that
pack and bell
actually,
bottoms and coffee. Is that what you're saying? Or
no, the calls,
yeah, I
the
know.
picking up the phones,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Surprised you're not sending out AI agents to ask your clients specific
Mm.
questions and stuff.
That's
So
a whole
actually,
nother
this
webinar series, Misha.
So, Justin, this kind of went into a little bit of my questions. I have two. One being, I know a lot of times people get so freaked out on focusing on like one specific target audience, right? Like, I don't want, I have more people that I can target. What if I lose opportunities? And you mentioned very quickly that like if you focus in, yes, you can have secondary and tertiary, but if you focus in, that really maximizes your marketing strategies. But I'm curious, like, let's focus on the brand strategies. How does focusing in on that one primary target audience help with your overall branding strategy? And maybe you can give us like a quick use case or something.
Sure. I've got two answers to actually go back and clarify. The first one I'm going to answer, you can't define your brand strategy if you don't have that person in the middle of your bullseye. So, and that's where we start, and that's where you have to start to really set that strategy, is to determine who is that ideal person that we help the most, and then figure out what is it that they need, what's the value that they bring, what's your differentiator, who are you competing with, and getting super clear there is foundational for building your value proposition and all the brand strategy elements that you need. That one person that's in the center of your bullseye is how you define everything from even the value proposition is going to help set the stage for how do we, is the name in line with who we are right now? Are the colors, fonts, all of that, down to all the communications out there? That brand strategy foundation is key to getting that alignment with all of your elements. Now, there's different profiles for sure. So, like for some organizations, there's that one ideal buyer, but they also might be going after joint venture partners. They might be going after a referral type of partner, and building a little story around that person is also critical, because then you can use that to then go after that specific audience. So there is, I don't want to confuse everyone. That one in the center helps set your brand strategy, but then it helps you get super clear on who are maybe some of the secondary and tertiary people that we really help, that really help our business and really help our organization. How's that?
Perfect. Yeah,
Depending on
makes
the
sense.
time, I know we're watching the time and you've kind of already alluded to it. I do have one more question, but we can push. Justin, you tell me, do we have time for, I got one
I
more
like
question.
questions. I like, go
Yep.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So just the process for uncovering a client's ideal audience, what is that? What does your process look like when you're working with businesses to figure this out for them?
So I kind of jumped all around earlier on it. We do have a process. It's called the Mercury method, and we start with strategy, because our point of view is that brand strategy is the foundation and sets the stage for your business strategy, for your marketing strategy, and that clarity and information around your brand strategy is critical to success of your business and organization. Our process in the brand strategy side is to sit down with key stakeholders, leaders within the organization that know a lot about the organization, possibly some newcomers that come in that have a fresh perspective. But we sit around a table or a Zoom, and we have a conversation around, who are they? Like, who are you now? Who do you want to be? And let's talk about your favorite people you help. And we run through conversations and exercises to help them identify these people they love the most, what's unique about them. And then we move into the next step of the value proposition. So, what is that primary need that they're coming to you for? What is the value that you bring? And who are you competing with? That's super critical as well, because then we now can determine what's your one thing? What's your superpower? What sets you apart? And is that thing that people remember the most, which in our viewpoint is your brand's essential value. And we like to distill that into a word or two, because whether you're a small organization or a big organization, if that one word is super memorable, people can talk about the value that that organization brings in their way. So it's super genuine. Like, for example, ours is clarity and alignment. So our team is all about bringing brand clarity to an organization. And then how do we get alignment internally with their team and key stakeholders so everyone gets it, everyone can talk about it consistently, and then that helps all of your marketing efforts, all of your sales efforts, all of your business strategy efforts down the road much easier, very much more clear when we have this foundation set in place. So we have a method to come back to it. It's a 3-step process that we take organizations through. So yeah, it's proven, it works. We might have some clients on here watching. Would love for them to have those conversations with some others. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one other one, but much like Catherine, we have limited time. So Justin, if you want to keep going, definitely keep going. And then I will just sort of quickly, Tanya put it inside of the chat, but anyone who has any questions for us, please put them in the chat. That's what we're here for today. It's not just going to be a whole bunch of talking at you and or talking between us. So we really want to create a dialogue here. So.
Let's do one more question, and then we can kind of close out and talk about what's next and the leave behind as well for people.
Yeah. So my last one is, so you talked a little bit about your Mercury method, where you're talking to stakeholders inside of an organization, and then you're moving into that audience, right? So one of the things that you've talked a couple of different times about is like, what does a client need? Like, what value do they need from working with another organization, right? So how does Mercury help with really understanding your clients or customers to really understand the value that they have in their partnerships or the value that they need to see?
Yeah. I'm saying a lot about conversations, but conversations are where it's at. Part of our process is we do insights gathering. So on behalf of our client, we will reach out to existing clients, past clients, maybe some clients that left unhappy for whatever reason. And we have a conversation with them about their experience. What do they know about that organization? How would they describe that organization to us? Have they? And give us that script. Why do you recommend that organization? And that information is super valuable, because when we're actually hearing from the people that love them the most, and then we're talking to the leadership, are they all in alignment, or do we have to bring leadership over to what their clients are saying, or do we have to sort of modify some things so that clients start to pick up on that evolution or a little bit of that transformation? So it's, again, talking to existing clients and identifying what is unique about this organization and why do they keep buying from it. And they won't tell that to the client. So a third party like us can come in and have those questions, and they can candidly share good and bad experiences, and all of that information can come back to the client to provide a better service, to provide something different and unique, but also to give them that insight and confidence on what people are saying and what to do with it. So conversations.
It's like that, picking up that phone, right?
Totally. Jane does have a question that I'm seeing in here. Yep. Tanya, I love it. I was working with a client team the other day, and they were resistant to narrowing down the focus to single detailed persona. They didn't want to use a fictional name or use any demographic information. Any tips for helping them overcome this resistance to narrow their focus? Well, gosh darn it. That's why are they so stubborn? I guess I would try to help them understand what their fear is about, kind of really digging into the demographics and getting that information. Because if they're not going to do that, it's all going to be fictional and it's not going to be usable. When we pick names, because we will put a name around the ideal client, and we call it an avatar, because it's sort of made up, but it's it's Frankenstein, as Sherry from my team calls it. We bring all of those uniqueness together under one name, and we like to give them a non-gendered name as well, like Charlie, for example. And you get your whole organizations talking about Charlie and what they need and what they want, and how are we going to go out and find more of them. So Jane, I would urge you to probably have maybe a tougher conversation with them to find out, why do you not want to dig into the demographics and help understand who that person is and how we can help them.
So I suspect too, to build on that, just based on conversations I've had with you, Justin, that they could potentially also just be afraid, like the client who's pushing back on this, not wanting to narrow down, they might be afraid that if they narrow down to that first like single detail persona, that they're leaving money on the table with other potential customers or clients. What do you think about that? Could that also be at play here?
Yes, and I would say even more so in today's market. It's bumpy. So I think the mentality of let's just be everything to everyone, and that isn't going to work. So
No.
it is scary to niche down in a sense, but when you niche down, you get super specific and you get super clear. And when you are super specific and super clear, the right people identify much more easily, much more quickly. And it gives you time to focus on the right things for those people, to build the right products and the right services. So trust, it's worth it. Also, the mind space and the money that you will save by being much more specific and clear. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, like you'll see a strain on your team when you can feel your organization doing all of this work, but you don't know, like, is it really effective? More than likely you're doing all of this stuff because you've been doing it for 5-10 years and you just keep doing it over and over. And it's not all working. So when you niche down and get super specific, you can really audit that material that you're doing and determine an ROI on it.
Yeah, you know the craziest part too, I've seen this time and again, when you niche down like that, you'll still have people inquiring of your business and saying, "I know you do this for this whatever, right? You do this for plumbers, but would you consider helping us out? Is that
Mhm.
something you're capable of doing?" The people will still approach you when you have this clear brand message. Your website's very clear as well. Everything's in alignment, who you are, what you do, where you do it. People will want to be a part of that because you look so
Mhm.
credible and trustworthy, and you have probably a lot of clients to back that up as well. And that's clear across the board. People will approach you outside of that niche.
Mhm.
So you don't really, your client doesn't have to worry about that. It's going to happen.
Well, and that goes down to the value sometimes too, right? So if you're pulling out that value, no matter what the niche is, sometimes that value can be multiple different audiences. So to
Mhm.
use your example, Catherine, like you got a plumber and or you got someone who's doing e-commerce, right? The value that they're looking for as they're talking to people or as they're researching you, that underline might be inside of your brand. So they might be able to see that despite the fact that maybe their niche isn't there. And if you really identify that value that Justin's been talking about, it might be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Catherine, what I just thought of when you were explaining that story where a plumber is coming to this organization and they are already identifying that I want to work with this group. I don't care that they work in a whole nother industry. I see that they do really good work. That company can decide to work with them or not. And if they do work with them, they can be super clear, like, we don't know a lot about your industry, maybe, but they might be really good at how they do the thing that they are coming to them for. So you already are starting off a relationship in a really nice level.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't need the work, you can pass on the work too, which is also very powerful, and that
Mhm.
means you have a strong, clear brand. We have 1 minute. I just saw Karina popped up a question.
Yeah.
I'm reading it. I'll quick read it. Thanks, Karina. I find it helpful to suggest a specific trial period where we watch key metrics and look for trends. You have to make sure it's long enough, but people tend to feel better knowing you're looking to make sure it's working versus going off of a feeling. Absolutely. Um, uh, uh, get it. in a good place, but then get it out in the market and test it, see what's happening, and then quickly adapt or change it or modify it, because what you're going to find out is what is working and what's not working, without a lot of perfectionism and overuse of time and money. So completely agree. I'm going to kind of move into just our last slide. So this, what you're seeing right there, is how we work. This was our key takeaways. I hope we did a good job. Start with focus, everyone. A clear primary audience drives all strategic decisions and avoids diluted messaging. You've heard that in some of our stories that we've shared. To Jane, so here, share this with your client. Dig deeper, go beyond demographics to uncover those values and behaviors and motivations from that specific audience. Strategy before execution. It's random acts of marketing if you're not really smart upfront about your brand strategy and how is this going to meet our business goals. And everyone isn't a strategy. So broad targeting weakens impact. Clarity creates connection, and it creates genuine, authentic connection. And when you get to know your ideal person, you can speak in their language. So again, they begin to align with you and trust you and want to work with you before you even have that first conversation. So, excuse me, those are the key takeaways. We're going to provide for some of you, you can scan the QR code right here. Otherwise, there's going to be a link Tanya's going to toss in here that you could go download our process, and it's 3 simple steps to discover your primary audience. For everyone that's on here, we're also going to follow up and send this in an email. So when you do hop on our website, you'll have to just give us your email to get that. Otherwise, as a reminder, this will be emailed out to all of you with our next webinar series, which Misha's going to be leading, and Catherine and I will be supporting her and asking her questions as well. So kind of same format and everything. So we'll follow up with those next details. And if you haven't signed up, we'd love to have you there, and share this also with your other colleagues or anyone else that you think that this information could be helpful, not just today, but in the series. And we hope to see you in the panel as well. So thank you, everybody. We'll also be sending out a recording, right, team? Yep. Okay. Yes. On that, make it a great day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your lunches. We appreciate you, and good luck on all the things that you're doing. We're here for you.
See y'all again.
See you in 2 weeks.
Hey, bye.